Hey, this is AV Unit 4A for CollectionDX.com. In this review I will be highlighting the transformation, special features, and other notables of the Deluxe Jungle Pride Megazord from the 2008 television series Power Rangers Jungle Fury. Right off the bat, I'd like to say thank you very much to Vivian of the Rogers Group, which is a public relations company associated with Bandai America. I inquired to their group about something completely unrelated, and she just very generously provided me with this sampler to cover for them, which I thought was a very nice touch. So thank you very much, Vivian. It was greatly appreciated. The thing that's immediately apparent is that never before in Power Rangers history have the animals of the lead Rangers ever been of the same family of animals. In this case, they're all wildcats. Very unexpected turn of events here. In this case, we have a yellow cheetah. What else is a cheetah but yellow? We have a red tiger. Sounds interesting. And then we have a blue jaguar. Jaguars are members of the panther family, so I guess you could think of it as a black panther if you want to go that way. The tiger does not really strike me as a tiger, except perhaps in the face. That's in the head. That's probably it. There's some defining characteristics I'm sure I'm missing here, but since I'm not a zoologist, I wouldn't know. So, the arms are flexible all the way around, snap very nicely. The claws are painted, but the paws are not. Those are actually transparent orange. The tail is made of ABS, hollow ABS. So you have to be a little careful with that one. You don't drop it or something like that. Legs ratchet there, kind of nice. Ratchet there, that's a necessity. Ratchet there, that is a necessity. Actually, I don't know, it's just too wide. The torso is just too wide, so it looks more like a gorilla than it does anything else. So this is the cheese factor of the toy right here. There is one feature I do want to point out, not to spoil it or anything, but one thing you want to look out for is the activation buttons for the special features. Now the special feature, you can only use it in Megazord mode. You can see one of the buttons here on the belly, the other one on the top of its back. You can accidentally, if the switch is on, you can accidentally, and that's obviously not something you want to deal with. It's not supposed to shake back and forth on the back and forth like that. This cat is not designed to purr. So that is something you need to be careful of. Make absolutely certain that feature is only designed to work in Megazord mode. It can't work when it's transforming or when it's like this. So always be aware of that. The interesting thing about these two is that if you just blink and look at them real quick, and one just seems to be a repaint of the other. Well, not necessarily so since I've given you now 15 seconds to look at these. Actually, yeah, whatever. The cheetah, the neck is only tilted 45 degrees, whereas the jaguar, the neck is horizontal, which is just the first of many changes. The tails are designed differently, and mostly that's how the tails are used for the weapons later on. A detail that I like about the cheetah is the spots are not raised. They're not molded in, they're painted on. But it's actually gold. It's not yellow. So the gold actually blends in with the black and the silver a little bit, which is pretty cool. But she also has, yes, it's a she also has spots along the side of her face, which are indented, spots which are both raised and painted on the head, and then she has raised spots on the back. So, and you can kind of see ovals along the tail as well, so that's a nice feature. The neck can only bend down those 45 degrees, but the head can tilt up and down, actually kind of ratchets, and then you can open the mouth quite a bit, see a little tongue in there if that isn't too fuzzy. So the Jaguar, actually I like the Jaguar most of the three. He doesn't have painted spots, rather he has raised plastic spots, which are squarish, rectangular, or whatever it is, which extend again onto the back there. There are additional spots along the top of the tail and along his head as well. The Jaguar is a little different. The head is held horizontally as opposed diagonally, but you can still ratchet up and down. However, the head does not bend up and down. It looks like it with that there, but trust me, it doesn't. Mouth still opens. And then, oh yeah, there's one big feature. The sunshades, sunglasses, which are, I don't know, the sunshades are actually made of PVC, but as you probably have not seen in the series, you can actually raise the sunshades to see his real eyes in there, which are actually light blue. Ironically, in Power Rangers Jungle Fury, you never see the sunshades raise up because he's a cool cat. The lines along the bottom are actually kind of cool. They're transparent orange lines, but they have different numbers. I don't know why there's a different number of them on there. So that's cool. That it wasn't painted on. It's actually transparent orange, so kind of like the paws on the red tiger. It just looks cool on there. So it's different. It's not, you know, orange all over the place. So it's nice regulating of themselves. For posability, and this applies to both, the legs fold back that 45 degrees there, and then the shoulders also ratchet forward and backward. That'll actually be key on the Jaguar later. You know, I'll point out why. The arms also snap to those two positions. So these two get the better posing, or they're good. Transformation is as follows. Cheetah and the Jaguar, they transform pretty much the same way. The tails are on PVC, which is nice. So you actually have to, you know, pull them out of there. The neck, you actually have to fold it up, push it up, and then it's like that. Now the interesting thing about the Jaguar has, it's slightly different. I'm going to show it here. You see how this black line, and this only looks at it when you look at it from the side, this black line is suddenly interrupted a bit by the shoulder here, and then it continues downward. Now the instructions tell you to do this as well, they just don't tell you why, which is kind of what can make it difficult for you to understand. What you're okay, I'll show you why. Now, and the thing is, you don't have to do this with the Cheetah. Ordinarily with the Cheetah you would just do this, but you can see this line is again interrupted by the shoulder. So what the instructions tell you to do is tilt the shoulder backwards a little bit like that. And the reason for that is, aside from the fact that he's a cool cat and all that, is that it's designed to rest on the heel thing here and along these two raised lines just inside of the neck here. So if you put the legs down, it actually pushes down, it actually interferes with that. So you have to raise the legs up, you have to raise both legs up like that in order to make that line straight. And it's just a little oddity, but I look at it as just another interesting little way that they made the Cheetah and the Jaguar different from each other. So officially and for the record, I hate the placement of those paws there. I really do. Yeah, they look like little skirt armor or whatever the Japanese term is, but I do not like those there. I think they could have reworked it to, you know, put it along back here or anything. I mean, come on. Seriously? Again, that switch is not turned on. And the tiger suffers from the simplest of transformations, which is just, you know, really disappointing. I mean, come on, you guys can aim higher than that. Seriously, you gave us the Titan Megazord, which was just awesome. Form arms and legs, and I'll form the head. I never watched that show, but everybody around me at CDX loves that show, so I don't get it. This is the Deluxe Jungle Pride Megazord. Poseability is as follows. The head does not turn. The waist does turn. The shoulders do open outwards, which is kind of redeeming, considering the fact that we do not have elbows on here. The lower arm, upper arm, they're made of two separate sections. They don't twist, and you already know about that. In the last, we've had 1, 2, maybe 3 Megazords off the top of my head without thinking too hard about it that have had shoulder articulation that can do that, and have also had elbow articulation that could bend forward and backwards. I actually have one of them behind the cameras. 2 of them. It was the Zeo Megazord, Deluxe Zeo Megazord, and it was the Deluxe Super Zeo Megazord from, get this, 1996 is when those came out. Let's see, 96 to 08 is a long time to not have fully posable arms. We've gotten, this is really the first time in however many years that we've had a shoulder joint that could do that is not connected to the transformation in some way. Bandai America, Bandai Japan, in the last... You guys can't give us more of this? Come on. Please, you drive me crazy. I could go on forever. This next part is not in the instructions. Again, oh yeah, okay, another missed opportunity. You guys have done this 2-3 times in the last half decade now. You know, you missed your elbows and your shoulders, and now you're also missing your leg joints. So you can't bend this forward. You can't. Well, you can bend it backwards. How many Megazords could we bend the legs backwards? So what the instructions don't tell you is you can fold that down, fold that forward, so you can. Yeah, it's not going to stay upright. The other thing you can do, which do not appear in the instructions, even though the joint is there, missed opportunity, the knee, you can see the knees. I'm not going to twist any further than that. You can see there is a little bit of, just a tiny bit of give there, but it's because the red plastic bumps into legs here. This is a golden opportunity to put hip joints and knee joints in there, and you guys missed it. Bandai, you're driving me crazy with this. Hopefully next year we get something else. I don't know. Come on, please. Please. Is that so difficult to do? You guys have been at this for... So I'd really appreciate it if you could... Come on. This is supposed to be an agile fighter. This guy, above all others, should have had some of that posability. The waist joint, you can hear it. You can hear the motor protesting inside. But I think they actually did put some effort forward so that when you twist this thing around, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't like you're stripping gears or something like that, which was nice. So the other thing that you have to contend with is this is actually the first Megazord ever to not use a sword, a blade, as its primary weapon system. Power Rangers Jungle Fury focuses a little more on martial arts than it does on weapons, so there's a lot more than you usually get. So, and this is actually kind of a nice touch because you actually use up all the leftover parts. You don't use the tails anywhere in here. And so what they did is you take the tiger's tail, you take the cheetah's tail, and you plug it in, PVC, ABS, PVC, and you actually have to put the you actually have to put the tiger's tail in first before you can attach the Jaguar's tail. That's, you know, that's just how it works. And this weapon is what is known as the Jungle Setsukan. In the series, it's a flexible weapon, but here it's obviously not. In the series, it's known as the Jungle Setsukan, but Sansetsukan is the Japanese word for it, which, you know, where Power Rangers come from. Power Rangers Jungle Fury has a martial arts theme that's kind of sort of hints Chinese martial arts, things like that. If you study martial arts, you can kind of see it. The Sansetsukan is the Japanese word for the description of the original Chinese weapon. The Chinese weapon is known in English as the three-section staff. I'm going to pronounce this completely incorrectly, of course, but the Chinese word, the actual name of this thing, is the Sanji gun. The Sanji gun is like the nunchuck. It's got a flexible section here, hard section, hard section, hard section, flexible, and you kind of twirl it around with like a baton or something. So, like a three-section staff. So, yeah, you know, pull the arm out and twirl it about like that. So that's the only provided weapon feature for the Jungle Pride Megazord. And now on to the reason why it has that stupid black fanny pack on there. It has this in the series. So block it. Bandai, you're not fooling anybody with that thing there. You're not fooling anybody. Just learn your lesson, get on with it. The special feature. Power on! I apologize for that. This is the reason why the arms can spread out to the side like this. You have two switches you deal with. You have the switch up here, and you have the switch there. It isn't there. It isn't there. It's not back here. It's there. Why is it there? This is what is known as the Savage Spin. Geki, 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 geki. That's the Savage Spin. That is also the Riders of Power Rangers. The instructions tell you, the instructions tell you that you're supposed to hold it with both hands. I'm not going to put both my thumbs down there at the same time. Forget it. Kids, do as I say, not as I do. The other switch is back here. To activate this feature, you actually have to make certain that all your digits are above the waistline. We're also smacking on the fanny pack. That is the super kick. Now, you look and listen. You hear it resisting. The reason it does that, as far as I can tell, is the connection between the two switches and the motor inside. It's just the way the electronics are set up. It's less of a balance issue, so what you want to do is turn it on its side, and then it'll protest a lot less. It'll protest far less. And that is what is known as the super kick. How original. And so that is the special feature. Okay, very quickly here. One feature, the only feature I can tell that's different from the original Japanese version, which was the DX Juken Gatai Gekitoja. This was known as the Gekitoja. One difference, the only difference I can tell so far, is that the fists do not light up. There's no LED in there. That's the only difference, as far as I can tell, between the original Japanese version and this guy. So, that's why they didn't put the batteries in there. It's because there were wires and LEDs running in through there. So even though the fists are still transparent, they don't light up anymore when you do the spinning torso attack. I have my own reservations about the Deluxe Jungle Pride Megazord, but despite that, I'll say that this is a, despite my constant protest, whatever it is, this is a good solid toy. Majority of it's ABS, the horn at PVC here. Nothing will really break on here except maybe these stupid flanges on here, whatever these are. You can tell that there's going to be some future features, whatever those may be. One of them is under the neck. You can see there's a joint sitting right there, so it will be interesting to see what it is that they do there. You can also see that there are connection points. There are 4 connection points on the back here, so he's going to have some sort of something or other that attaches to the back there. And I'm not quite sure why they did this though, but you can see there are screws in the back here, but I think they might be using these 2 red round whatever these things are. I think those might be used in something as well. There's one final feature that I must discuss with you before I close this out, and this is something that I would never have expected before. Never. Last year, Bandai Creation gave us the Deluxe Drive Max Megazord. I didn't get to do a video review of it, but you can read my review on CollectionDX.com and you can see what a disaster that was. In 2008, Bandai decided to take a second shot. And they gave us the Transforming Jungle Fury Megazord. Huh? what this is not from Japan. This is completely original. And what this is very cool. What they did is they scaled down the Deluxe Jungle Fury Megazord. And the biggest difference, aside from size and weight, is that they removed the electronic feature, which is pretty interesting. I would never thought that I'd be having to make a comparison of these two here, and I never thought I'd be buying an original Power Rangers product. This was not released in Japan. This was not. So that, like I said, that was completely unexpected. I'll spend a moment here comparing the differences between the two. Poseability is the same. The arms ratchet forward. And by the way, I do a full review of the transforming Jungle Pride Megazord in a different review on CDX, which is posted shortly around the time that this review was also posted. The poseability is pretty much the same, even though the motor is not. There is no motor inside of here. You can still spin this around manually, so that was good. With the fanny pack missing, you can actually twist this back a good ways, and because the connection joints, the buttons from the back of the Deluxe version, the buttons are not there. These just pop right off, which is really cool. You can actually get away with doing a little more of this. You can actually, whoops. The leg would pop. You see, this is what's going to happen if it didn't have those connection points on them. You could do this. So you'd actually have a bit of a knee. Yeah, it'll still pop off, but it won't pop off. You won't have to worry about breaking it. It just has a little more flexibility to it. Those are the similarities in Megazord mode. The connection joints on the Jungle Pride Megazord, well, by the time this video comes out, you know why they're there. The transforming Jungle Pride Megazord also utilizes the same weapons features that the deluxe size versions in Japan do. Here's the thing though, the transforming series, there's three of them. There's the Jungle Pride Megazord, transforming Jungle Pride Megazord, there's the transforming Roarmax Megazord, and the transforming Battle Megazord. I know. The reason that those sets were made is they provide all the accessory Zords for Power Rangers Jungle Fury. Here's the thing though, the accessory Zords are not going to be provided, at this point. It's late enough in the year I can say this. At this point, the accessory Zords are not coming out full size for the Deluxe Jungle Pride Megazord. This guy is not, you're not good. English-speaking audiences are not going to see the shark, the elephant, and the bat. You're not going to see them supersized. You're not going to see the wolf either. That's why Bandai America made the quote-unquote transforming version of the sets. Now here's the kicker though. I was in the Disney store. I think this is a DisneyShopping.com exclusive or something like that, because I haven't seen it anywhere else. The Black Lion and Emerald Chameleon, which these two are being released in a special 5-part set called the Ultimate Megazord set, which will be the deluxe, which will be the Black Lion and Emerald Chameleon, and then the Deluxe Megazord. So this actually comes in 2 sets. You can actually get this 2 ways. You can get it as that Disney Shopping, the Disney Store exclusive, or you can get it in the standard deluxe size packet. So the advantage is you get the size and majority of the features. The disadvantage is you're going to be missing most of the add-ons, which the Transforming series packs can do. So even though we're getting the Deluxe Jungle Pride Megazord with pretty much everything they had in the Japanese version except for the LEDs. This is very faithful to the original design. This spot on. All the paint apps, all the features, all the materials, as far as I can tell, completely original. Completely the same. So this is a good toy, but unfortunately you're going to lose out on a lot of the things, except if you get that Ultimate Megazord add-on pack. But otherwise, this is a good set. I can't say that I like it. I have my own picks about it, but it does what it's supposed to, and it does it well. So I recommend getting it. It's good. But I've now explained both the pros and cons of getting foot in this last section. So this is Ava Unit 4A for CollectionDX.com, signing off.